Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Tuesdays with Dr. T, the place where I share behind the scenes of autism recovery, achieving developmental milestone for your child, and obviously reaching the serenity for autism moms. Okay, so Tuesdays with Dr. T is the place where I bring in all the differences that makes in our client's life. And today I have a very interesting topic for you. And that is autism recovery available or possible for your child? Okay, so if you are an autism mom or a dad listening to me today on live or on replay, the majority of your time will be very much worthwhile because I am going to be sharing the science behind of autism recovery, what I mean by autism recovery, what sort of developmental milestone can you achieve very naturally and without medications or running into 10 different centers and whatnot. And also I will be sharing the scientific reasoning behind it. I will be showing you proof based on the latest research, and maybe we will discuss a little bit on how I made the decision to help my son become the best version of himself. So if this sounds to be like a perfect match and something that you have always wanted to learn, this is the episode for you. So stick around, okay? All right. So first things first, I need to know if I am properly live, and you guys need to tell me if I'm doing, you can hear me properly and whatnot, because sometimes Facebook does really weird things, okay? Okay, so I am live. I will be having my phone on the side, so if you have any question, because I am using Zoom to live stream this because I want to share some documents and articles with you guys, okay? So first question, what do I mean by autism recovery? Okay, so autism recovery, autism is not a disease, first of all, that we can cure. Autism is a disorder of the neurodevelopmental delays, okay? It's a disorder that affects child who are not having the proper developmental milestones, okay? The thing is, we are told or bombarded by misinformation about autism all over the world, whether you are in Bangladesh, you are India, in Pakistan, in USA, or UK, or Canada. The truth is almost same everywhere, okay? And here it is. We are being told by doctors, by medical system, by our professionals that it's a permanent condition. And if your child is, suffering and struggling and not being himself, it's just part of who he is or she is. And there is nothing much we can do except to manage the symptoms, okay? And this is a permanent thing. So in my quest and how I worked with my son and how he has turned out to be after 1 year or 2 years, and also by the, Alhamdulillah, the experience of working with about 40 students so far, 40 children on the spectrum so far, and seeing the massive 90% upwards of result of recovery with my own clients and whatnot, I have learned this thing. Even if your child has autism, he does not need to have the developmental delays, okay? So even if his system is Android, it's not Android, sorry, even if his system is Apple, he can still manage to be successful. He can still manage to be able to speak, to communicate, to have a proper social understandings of norms, to be able to take care of himself, and to be able to perform just like a regular 4, 5, 6, 10, 15-year-old. Okay, it's totally possible. So by autism recovery, I mean being able to give the child those opportunities and support so that the child can reach all or maximum of the developmental milestones, okay? So you do not have to go on that shindig and drama and fight on whether I'm trying to cure my child or whether I'm trying to bring back the child. The umbrella statement is this: you and me, we are on the quest to give our child the maximum support that the child needs to be able to grow properly, for the brain to be able to develop properly, okay? And that's totally possible because brain is neuroplastic in nature. Your child's brain is neuroplastic in nature. So whether he has autism or not, whether he's neurotypical or neurodiverse, both and all sorts of brain can develop, will develop if it gets the perfect support, okay? Which brings me to the next question. What sort of support does the brain need to be able to function well, to be able to recover the delays that's, currently haunting the child? So here's the thing. I have pretty much worked with, as I mentioned already, like 40 plus students, and as well as with my son. Each child's trajectory is different. Each child's needs are different. Each child's age, gender, perspective, environment, internal conditions are different. Okay, so you need to understand that the potential of your child's being able to have the successful life depends on, number one, the age your child is currently in. So as I say, and I've already proven it many times already, that brain development happens faster if we have younger child. I'm not saying after 7-year-old, your son's, your daughter's brain will not develop. I'm saying it's highly more probable to pretty much go back to normal life. Okay, pretty much go back to normal life if your child is as younger as possible. But that being said, you should start as early as possible, even today if possible, okay? Because every single day counts. So apart from the age of the child, the internal condition, how bad the child's gut imbalance is, brain, neurodevelopmental structures is going on, how much toxins your child has, how much general toxic load your child have, how much sort of trauma he or she is exposed to, how much, or the extent of chemicals and toxins and environmental pollution your child is currently in. All of those factors gives the second one, okay? The third point is how much the professional that you are going to understands your child's need and guides you towards that, okay? So in trying to help with the child, we have our own 5 pillars protocol, which I always talk about. And I have seen that this structure is pretty much complete and it helps the child to the best abilities possible. Okay, so what are those 5 things? Number 1 is the mindset and emotional health of the mother, because the mother is the primary caregiver. So, and she is energetically connected with the child because the child was part of your body. Okay, your child grew inside of you. You have transferred a lot of the genes, a lot of the proteins, a lot of the neurotransmitters and the gut imbalance or disbalances to your child. Okay, so that is one of the stepping stone of how your child will react to certain stuff and how we can manage and help the child brain to develop further. Okay, so as I said, autism recovery to me is getting back your child to have a normal, regular life. Okay, why would you want your child's life to be normal and regular? Because if your child is not sleeping well, eating well, is having severe constipation, is angry, upset, depressed, breaking his head, breaking things, and you have zero social life and you cannot sleep at night, your own career has gone astray, you have no career at all, you even struggle to be just a mom, then autism recovery is for you. If your child is already high functioning, then you might not have to go very deep in the trenches. But if your child is a severe case, level 2 or level 3, nonverbal, self-harming, no focus, then you must, I would say, you would do better if you work on your child. Okay, so now I want to give you guys a little bit of some, because there are literally hundreds of researchers. Okay, but I have today brought like 4 or 5 just to dip your toes into the research era and what's happening. Because even if your doctor says there is no connection between nutrition and your child's brain development, it's BS. Okay, because current research has already proven so. So without further ado, let's just jump in so that I can show you. Okay, that's me there. All right, so yes, you guys can see this. Very good. Can children with autism recover? If so, how? This is a Springer link research article by Molly Health and others. Okay, it has been published in 2008 because that's when around we have started really looking into autism. Okay, the past 10 years has been the golden age, I would say, because then on we have had so many people coming out with discoveries and coming out with diagnosis that it has pretty much become a global epidemic, and it's now very much important to be discussed and having research on. Okay. All right. So earlier age of diagnosis and treatment and a diagnosis of the pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified. This article has been already cited 323 times, and it has a lot of like about 6,000 access. So this article is actually telling you this, the gist. I want to read the gist for you guys so that you know this is a legitimate research article, okay, which has been reviewed very well. And it says, possible mechanisms of recovery for autism includes normalizing input by forcing attention outward or enriching the environment. Remember, I said in the 5 pillars protocol, we have our 4th pillar is the lifestyle, which corrects the environmental disorders your child might be in. Okay. And then they say even more, promoting the reinforcement value of forcing attention outwards. Promoting the reinforcement value of social stimuli. So that means just letting him be and accepting his situation and not giving him the opportunity to socially interact will rob your child of development, actually. Okay. Preventing interfering behavior. So if your child is self-harming and you're like, okay, my doctor told me that this is what he is, let him break the TV, let him break his arm, let him hurt others, he's autistic. Please don't do that, because your child is either self-harming or harming others, which is not okay, which is not right. We as parents have the responsibility over us to make sure that our child learns, and it's totally possible. Okay. Mass practice of weak skills, reducing stress. I always say stress plays a major role in autism and brain development. Okay. And stabilizing arousal. Listen properly. It says over here, improving nutrition and sleep quality is non-specifically beneficial for autism recovery. Okay, so I have downloaded a few of the articles and I will be posting in the group and sending you guys very soon. So stay tuned for that. Our next article talks about microbiome and gut-brain axis. Okay, so what's the gut-brain axis? Our gut is the second brain of our body. Your child's brain, the main brain, is in the head, inside the head, and then the body has the gut is the second brain of the body. Okay, and the brain and the gut is connected by a two-way mechanism, which is called the gut-brain axis. So this research that has been published in what's the year? In July 2018, not very old journal, in fact. It talks about microbiome and gut-brain axis in autism spectrum disorders. Okay, so over here, the paper actually talks about the gut and the brain, how autism kids have their gut and brain axis being converted, being disrupted. For example, over here, it says, furthermore, in ASD, these alterations of the gut microbiome are implicated in increased gut permeability or leaky gut. So research has already proven that your child's gut is leaky, okay? And it affects the brain development because gut interacts with the brain in a two-way situation, okay? So if your doctor or anybody of the advocates who are saying that it's not proven, there are hundreds of articles now being published that proves this factor, okay? So I have no idea why you will not even want to at least go through them, read them, and understand. I want to read a little bit of the last few lines here. The leaky gut and gut-brain axis indicates the mechanism by which these altered metabolites can enter the systemic circulation and directly affects neurodevelopment. Do you hear that? The leaky gut and gut-brain axis indicates the mechanism by which these altered metabolites enter the systemic circulation, which is your child's blood, and directly affect neurodevelopment. So the extent of the research continues to grow. We held the importance that it's more evident that the gut is specifically disturbed of it and plays an important role in certain neurological disorders, including autism spectrum disorder. This is another article. It's published by Journal of Genetics and Genome. So if you are a genetic fan, stem cell therapy for autism and whatnot, you will love this one. So this is published by Elsevier, which is one of the best platform for research. So if a journal like Genetics and Genomes is being published by Science Direct or Elsevier in specific, that means this is a very authentic journal and authentic research, okay? I am bringing in only the best of the best for you guys today, so stay tuned. Okay, so in this review, which I will be sharing with you guys, they have already spoken about the microbiota of the gut-brain axis, and then it's also talking about accumulating evidence of showing how the microorganisms modulate neural activities. More and more research is focusing on the role of the gut microbiota in mitigating ASD symptoms and underlying mechanism. Okay, so now you know that research has already proven that the gut and the brain is connected, and the gut dysbiosis directly affects your child's neurodevelopmental delays. This is a 2021 publication, you guys, 2021. That means it's just last year. It's very fresh, it's very new, and it's done by the best of the best in the arena. So now I'm going to be bringing you guys to Cambridge University. Okay, so you guys know Harvard, Cambridge, they are the Ivy League universities, and whatever research they publish makes sense and it matters. So this one says autism and nutrition, the role of the gut-brain axis. This paper tries to understand the correlation between your child's nutrition, diet, how it plays role in the neurodevelopment of your child, and the struggles of your child. So this one says, let me read a few of the lines here. This is so awesome, guys. I am like, seriously, when this morning I was doing a little bit of research to bring to you guys, I was very much excited. Okay, so through the review of the literature, it was found that abnormalities in carbohydrate digestion and absorption could explain some of the gastrointestinal problems observed in the ASD subset of patients. Recent trials involving gluten-free diets, casein-free diets, and pre- and probiotic and multivitamin supplementation show contraindicative but promising results. It can be concluded that nutrition and other environmental influences might trigger an unstable base of genetic predisposition. Let me read it again. It can be concluded that nutrition and other environmental influences might trigger an unstable base of genetic predisposition, which may lead to the development of autism, or at least the subset of autism. So you guys, I have now given you a lot of research-based proof that current research is saying your child's neurodevelopmental delays are connected to nutrition, connected to the gut imbalance, and you better start working on them. So here is something. Why does your doctor not accept this? Yesterday, I was speaking with a mom, and then she was saying like, she wants to try to work on her child, but her doctor and all the professionals are saying like, why would you want to change? If something changes in the first 2 or 3 months, then that's it. There is nothing much to be done. I beg to differ. Okay. So first of all, when you are going to see a doctor, or a professional, they have already been in the trenches for a while. So they have passed their degrees and certification a while back. Okay. And if their textbook did not have exposure to all this latest research, they are not privy to it. Okay. Another thing is our medical system has a lot of legal bindings. Okay. So if they want to take your child's case and work on something, and if something goes wrong, people can actually sue the doctor, right? They can sue the doctor, they can sue the medical practitioner, they can sue the hospital. So which is why they are legally bound to stay within the track of their education. And if that education is faulty or lacking, it's not the doctor's fault. Okay, it's not really their fault. But what I would say is they should try to spend some time to learn more about it, learn more about the research, because research are proven by scientists, not by laymen, not by a mom in Chicago staying at home. It's being proven scientifically and is valid. So you and I better start accepting all this, even though our system is not telling us to believe, because at the end of the day, it's your son and daughter whose life we are talking about. Okay, it's your son and daughter's life we are talking about, and we should not wait for the doctors to tell us beyond reasonable doubt that we should change the diet, beyond reasonable doubt that we should work on the environment, beyond reasonable doubt that we should work on X, Y, and Z to help our children. Do you understand where I'm getting at? I hope you're understanding. Okay. All right. So how do you question your doctor? The third point that I wanted to talk to do is how do you question your doctor and healthcare professional, or autism professional, and make your own decision? Okay, it's a very important point. Here is my take to it. When I was struggling with Muhammad, I was actually waiting for the doctors to tell me what to do with him. Because I am a healthcare professional, I deeply trust the medical system. I still do. There is a time and place for everything, but mostly if we know it very well, the pharmaceutical giants and the companies, they have their own agenda, which they push on us. And that's not always very much to our own benefit. It's mostly benefiting the larger corporations. Okay. That being said, you and me, our first line of defense is this. If the doctor is telling me that nutrition does not have any effect on my child, why is he or she saying that to me? What's the agenda? Because every person in the world will give you an opinion or advice or suggestion based on their own agenda. Okay? Your doctor, your pharmacist, your therapist, your father-in-law, mother-in-law, your husband, everybody in the world will tell you a part of their own stuff. Okay, people, we often project our things onto others. So you have to understand, you as the mother and the father, you have to understand this thing. If my doctor is saying this, what's the agenda behind it? Why is my doctor not saying that nutrition affects my child? Because we human being, our body needs nutrition. The vitamins and the minerals are what we need to grow and to work and to survive and thrive. So why won't nutrition matter? I have no idea why they would say that. Okay. So one of the reasons why somebody might negate is because, number one, they have not studied it themselves. It's not your fault they haven't studied it themselves. It's their fault. It's their responsibility to learn. And it's your responsibility to learn yourself, to do research on yourself, which is why I have shown you the research today, and I will be giving you the links. I will be uploading all of the full text PDF for you guys to read through and do your own research. Okay. The second point is, as I was saying, that what's the agenda? What does they want from this? Okay. So usually the business of therapy, like, ABA or likewise, that sector usually is like this. They do not believe that your child can fully recover. They believe that your child's problem can be managed. So as long as you are dependent on them, you are their client and they will be benefiting from it. Okay, that might be one agenda. If somebody, a coach or a healthcare professional, is telling you that your child can be recovered, here are the steps that you need to follow. So now then you have to understand what's the agenda of that person. So for example, me, let me be very vulnerable and talk to you guys one-to-one. If I'm saying your son or daughter can recover 90%, 80%, 70%, join my program, join my courses. What are my benefits? Number one, the benefit is financial. Of course, I gain some money. And our courses and programs are not very cheap. They are affordable if you have the mind power and mindset to work on that, but they're not very cheap, okay? So apart from the financial gain, what are my other needs, that I'm trying to meet while working on with autism kids? The second thing is, when my students share with me that, Apu, today my son told me Amma, and Apu, my son looked at me while asking for something. Apu, my daughter did X, Y, and Z. Those are the wins that means more than money. Because as an autism mom, I truly feel the excitement, the relief when my student shares that they have the win. That way I can prove to the world and get more clients and get more people to join us, our community, right? So if anybody is telling you that your child can be helped, if you follow X, Y, and Z, try a little bit at home on yourself. Change your own diet, change your own lifestyle, change your own detoxification patterns and whatnot. When you see that your body is reacting and being light, and you can think properly, you have more energy, you are less exhausted, you would want to give that gift to your son and daughter. Okay, that's what I did. So you have to ask the question, if somebody is telling you autism recovery or getting developmental delays back is not possible, what's their agenda? Okay, so our mission is to make autism recovery accessible to everyone. So by that, I mean, if you are somebody who are on the track, on the trenches, you want to work, you don't want to give on the BS of excuses that we are being always bombarded with, or we believe, or we are stuck in our fear, then you are somebody that I would love serving, okay? Apart from that, how else can you do your own research? The third thing that you can do is Google University. Okay, although it's not always legitimate, but I would say, rather than reading blog posts by typical autism moms or autism advocates who does not have, pretty much higher degrees and certifications, please stick to authentic researchers. Okay, another thing, you will find research that will say autism recovery is not possible. Okay, I agree. So you will see some research telling you X, Y, and Z is possible, gut is being connected. You will also see some research will tell you it's not possible. How will you then decide? How will you then decide? Here is the golden rule that will help you decide. What is more important for you? To be proven right that autism recovery is not possible, or to get your son back to normal life? What is more important to you? What is more important to you? To be proven right that autism recovery and getting the developmental delay is not possible, or to have your child lead a normal, healthy life? I dare say your ego might cause a little bit of crankiness to you, but at the end of the day, you are a mom or a dad, and you want your child to have the best opportunities in successful life. Because one day you and me are not going to be in this world. They're going to be on their own and they need to be independent. They need to have a successful life. And neurodiversity does not have to be a curse as long as you teach your child to become independent. Okay? So, which brings me to the last segment of today's episode. How did I make the decision of autism recovery? Because when I started the journey, it was 2.5 years, about 3 years ago. I was assistant professor in the pharmacy department in my university. My son was diagnosed, and then he was told being borderline. So first of all, he was diagnosed saying that he is borderline, so he might develop into severe autism or not, but we have to just wait and see. But then, even though the diagnosis was not totally conclusive, his attitudes, his struggles, his problems started increasing. It went out of proportion. It blew out of proportion when we immigrated to Canada. I was pregnant, and then after that, I gave birth to my daughter. Things were very chaotic. We were one income family, one low income family. Okay, one low income family, and I could not work because my husband, who is thank God, he told me that, babe, because it was pandemic also, if you want to work and earn money, then you have to work in McDonald's, Tim Horton, be the cleaner, be the server. I don't want my PhD holder to clean the bathroom, to clean the toilet. So I want you to have your own integrity. So you stay at home, let me work hard and find out as much money as we can so that we can help our children. So that's what I did. I stayed home. I full-blown got into research. I took a lot of courses on personal finance. I learned how to save money. I learned how to shop effectively. I learned how to cook and store my food properly. I learned how to feed my kids very nicely from the budget aisles. I learned all of those things. I could have just given the excuse that we are one income family. I have postpartum depression. I am suicidal. I was suicidal. I wanted to kill myself, but then I didn't. Okay. So, or I wanted to throw my daughter outside the window because her constant crying, her constant eczema was too much for me to handle. I did not give in. I fought. And I believe if you are somebody who is resonating with my story, you are a survivor too. You are a fighter too. So it's not. Then on what I did was I did my research. I did not want to go to any therapy centers because I have found out it doesn't work well because it's just monkey training and I don't want to train my son to be a monkey because that's not what I want. And then I also used my own experience as a neurodiverse. My own life was full of trauma, full of abuse, physical, mental, emotional, and sometimes sexual. So my past gave me the strength to fight for my son because I did not want him to struggle the way I struggled when I was a kid. Okay? That gave me the power to do the research to find the work. Yes, not everybody among us are research scientists because I'm a research scientist. So I know whenever I'm reading a research, is this authentic or not? I have my own ways of finding out whether something is authentic or not. You might not be. That's why you have coaches that can help you. That's why you have professionals that can help you. So you do not have to. When I went to a very eminent what's that thing called? Pediatrician, developmental pediatrician. And she told me that your son, your son is a critical case. He might never speak to you. Just accept him the way he is and just keep him alive. So I told her, keep him alive. I was rolling my eyes out like, is she A doctor telling me just to keep my son alive? A Canadian doctor? Is that where we are now in our life? Here's the thing. I did not want my son to just live or survive. I wanted him to thrive. And there is no wrong in that. You cannot blame me. You cannot push me. You cannot make me believe that I did wrong. Never. I am very much proud that I have worked on my son's autism recovery, and now he's going to a regular school, to a normal school, having friends, making friends, speaking with us. And sometimes if you are following me in Instagram, you see me talking to him just like a 5-year-old. Okay. I will never regret the sacrifices I made for him. I will never regret the not buying Eid dresses, the not buying, beef, not eating beef, letting go of the small treats. I will never, ever feel bad that I made those sacrifices, because those sacrifices allowed me to budget the money that was needed for his recovery. Okay. So everything is possible if you have the faith and you want to not just stay in your fear bubble, to kick the bubble out and then come forward. Enough is enough of us, you and me, staying in our scared little bubble and listening to others, what we should do or should not do about our children, about our son, about our daughter. Because when your son or daughter cannot mix with another kid, cannot play with another kid, when you take your children to family gatherings and your children are the one, your son, your daughter is the one who is the not making it, it hurts. It hurts like shit. I believe that. You do not have to accept your child's struggle, accept the autism. Yes, your child has autism. A lot of parents, mostly fathers, they say like, nothing is wrong with the son. Nothing is wrong with my child. Please, I beg you guys, like literally guys, the boys, the men, your child has problem. Accept it. Unless you accept that your child has problem, you will not have the courage to move forward. And if it's expensive, suck up and pay for that, because it's your responsibility to pay for your child, not the government, not the medical system. No one else is responsible for your child but you, because you brought him into the world. Okay? I could have said like, oh my God, I spent 14 lakh Bangladeshi taka to come to Canada so that Canadian government will take care of my son and give me a disability bhata. I could have been that woman, but I was like, no, I'm not a charity case. My son is not a charity case. Okay. So as a wrap up, you already know, if you have been through from the beginning, I have given you proof that the gut and the brain is connected, that nutrition is connected, that environmental toxin and pollution and everything in between is connected, and you can help your child. So yes, the question, is it possible for your child to recover? Absolutely possible, 100% possible. Okay, you just need to have faith and courage and want to work on it. The thing is, nobody in this world can give you guarantee. A lot of the parent who comes to me says that, you know, what's the guarantee that my child will start speaking? I would be like, I would try my best not to be judgmental, but here's the thing. When I started working with Muhammad, I never asked any of my Ayurvedic doctor or supplement maker or the courses that I took, what's the guarantee that you can help my daughter? Help my son. I never asked that, because for me, the guarantee comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no one else. Only He can guarantee whether my investment is going to be making it or not. But I, as a mom, can only do one thing: deeply give myself fully and work for my child's success. That's it. That's the only thing that you have to do. That's the only thing that you can do. And that's the only thing you should do. Okay. So If you are interested to learn more about our courses and programs, let me know in the comment. Shoot me a DM, shoot me a PM. I will leave some links for you guys to check out. And please do not book the clarity call if you are not ready to do investment. Please do not use the clarity call as a therapy session for you to unload your deep shit on me, okay? Because I take the calls very seriously. The clarity call that you guys book is an opportunity for you and me to get to know each other better and to give you a strategy that will actually help your child. So book the call if you are ready to invest, not just for a fishing expedition, because if for fishing expedition, we have a lot of client testimonials. I share my student wins every time. So go read them, make up your mind, and then only deep dive in, because success is always at the other end of getting over your fear. There will always be fear, and our courses and programs are not for everyone, because everybody is not on the same journey and everybody is not ready at the same time and point. That being said, we can seriously help you because our proven system is science-based, is research-based, and we have proof of that. You have my son's development, you have my students' developments on that. We hear our kids, previously non-verbal kids speaking in 4 or 5 months, in as little as 2 months also. Okay, so it's totally possible for your child if you just kick the ass of all the excuses that you have. Listen, the excuses that you have are your fears, whether this thing will work for you or not. Of course, it will work for you. It has worked for 40 kids. It will work for your kid. Your kid is not from Mars or Venus or Jupiter. Your kid is from the planet. Your kid is a human being, and all human beings' body works the same way, even if it's neurotypical or neurodiverse. Yes, the system might be a little different, but the vitamins, the minerals, the gut microbiome, everything is still the same. Your child's problem is a little deeper. That's why we need to work more in depth on that. Apart from that, the only thing that I can tell you is recovery for your child is 100% possible. The extent of recovery depends on your child's current condition, how long you are working, you are willing to work on your child, how much faith and positivity you bring to the table, and how much faith you have in your Lord. Okay, with that being said, thank you so much for staying until the end. Look out for the uploading of the documents that I have already shared with you guys so that you can start your own research. And once again, autism recovery is totally possible for your child. It's totally gonna work for your child. It's totally gonna change your life. Okay, inshallah, I'll see you in the next episode. It was very nice to have you guys here. Allah Hafiz. Love you.